Welcome to LaTB, the only podcast that comes with a free Bandits bonus.
Express delivery included.
LaTB, where MMA and UFC get silly. This is the LaTB podcast.
Welcome back. Episode 231, LaTB, back in your face. We don't have fights this weekend. A rare showing for us here at LaTB. We still got content though. We still got plenty of information coming out here. How do you has been since we had that epic recap show, re-breakdown of what happened?
I still
on the
can't
last
decide
pay-per-view.
if I am excited or not that there's no fights this weekend. I still can't decide. I don't know how I'm going to feel Saturday once it's like 6 o'clock and I'm like, huh.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, what are you guys doing? Nothing? Okay, alrighty.
Huh. What are we going to do with ourselves? So I can't really decide.
Maybe one of those LaTB rules, if you have a significant other, time to take them out, boys. Time to put in the work.
Oh, yeah, because there are so many fight cards in a row
Yeah.
coming up again.
Oh, yeah. So this is a time where you spend so much money having a good time that she's like, for the next few weeks, she's like, let's stay in. We went out that other weekend. And it's like, yeah, we did.
Yeah, take her out. And also, maybe binge watch some shows. There's some
Catch up.
shows that maybe you can get her interested in that you might not mind yourself. Are you watching anything right now?
I just finally finished a couple that dragged on for me for a while, so I'm sure everyone else has watched them. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they've been like I have and pushed it back an entire month, and I'm like, oh yeah, people are already done with these. Handmaid's Tale, Orange is the New Black, those kind of shows where I was like, got a hairy midway through the seasons.
Yeah, they did both of them. If it was a 5-round fight, it was their round they took a breather.
Yeah,
they
the
took
round
the
4.
L. Yeah,
Yeah.
they took the L on that round. But finished those as well. I don't know if there's been anything else great. I can't press enough. I've been saying Euphoria, but I'm not caught up on that. I didn't watch the last episode. Now I'm kind of excited, like, ooh, I know what I'm watching tonight. I can't tell enough people. You should watch that one.
Definitely one I'm going to have to start to watch, but there's so many. I feel like there's times where I have even a hesitation because if I don't have my significant other there with me, I don't even want to start another show. So I then get frozen up to not having the right time, so I don't watch anything, and I go back to old workaholic episodes.
You know what I watch when I'm like by myself? I love the new Two Bears One Cave with Tom Segura and Burt Crusher.
I haven't watched any of that yet.
It is so funny.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Like, it is where it's funny. I think everybody should try it out. All right, you guys hate it when we talk about ourselves, so I guess we should get into some MMA stuff.
What are some of the hot leads that we need to go over for this week?
Well, I thought I would start with what are your thoughts on the intergendered champ?
Coming out swinging. Woo! Can I even talk about this? Are we allowed? Are we going to get pulled?
Champ? Isn't this just...
intergendered? This is a triple C.
Yeah, versus Valentina Shevchenko.
That's right. We've had more stories coming out. We've seen a shirtless Henry Cejudo, triple C, talking about him being the greatest of all time. And even belt talk with Dana White saying that he's got to defend, but that's a whole nother story for itself. Right now, the intergendered champness is just a gimmick. Completely, there's no way in hell UFC's ever going to let that happen.
Well, this is what I was thinking. Is Henry Cejudo brilliant? So let's say Valentina takes this on. Henry Cejudo gets to roll around with Valentina.
I think it was more of a date without saying, hey, do you want to go get
They're
some ice
totally,
cream?
and it seemed like Valentina was receptive, which then led me to this. If Valentina had Cejudo's baby, that is the best fight style you can think of. If you mix them together, who would beat that kid?
That would be unbelievable. I feel like you would probably get sanctioned in an inner tribunal for bringing to life a little monstrosity of a fighter.
Maybe that is the leader we need.
Not the one you asked for.
Yeah.
The one you needed.
And, the other thing is, I'm sure Valentina is super eloquent in her language when she speaks her native tongue or whatever they may be.
Henry Cejudo can speak Portuguese too.
Which I'm sure, for her, that would be her better language of the two. But sometimes in America, Could she kind of be cringy herself when she's speaking? I say, Henry Cejudo, he might be careful or he lose all his gold. I take it.
That was really good. And she's getting better. I mean, she can speak 3 or 4 languages.
Oh my
like
gosh,
so
she's a Renaissance woman. She's amazing.
So you can't be good at everything. You gotta be okay-ish at
Yeah,
some.
I would be pissed if she was also funny.
Right.
I would be like, are you kidding
She's cracking
me?
jokes. You're just like, this bitch.
She's also funny. So whatever. I mean, people are talking about it, and Henry's keeping his name in the limelight, which for all intents and purposes, Demetrius Johnson didn't do. So isn't he doing a better job?
Just like Colby Covington, Henry Cejudo's realizing that heat is heat, and people talking about you, it doesn't matter what's going on. It's going to end up benefiting you in the end. But as I was saying, Triple C is now been told by Dana White on the Contender Series.
The Triple C is Henry Cejudo, for those of you who don't know.
Oh, I think most people know by now.
I didn't know at first. It's like, what are you keep saying? Oh, because he's the champ.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So he has to defend at 125 against Joey Benavidez or vacate within the year, I believe it is the stipulation. So he's got push come to shove. Like, UFC's like, all right, dude, you've been hurt long enough. You've been talking long enough. We need to get you fighting. He did have surgeries after his last title defense.
There's no real reason, in my opinion, that he even hold up the belt. Decide what weight class you're going to do and do it. Don't hold up the division. That's the one thing you have to say about Daniel Cormier is he never did that. He let go of that.
Yeah, he's like, go ahead, guys.
Or
I'm
even
going
GSP.
Yep.
Like, that's really respectable. I like guys that let the division move on and don't become like Conor McGregor and make a ghost, ghost the division.
Making another appearance. You know how we get them clicks.
Well, I guess Khabib kind of did the same thing. The 155's had a rough go at it for the last 2 years.
Very true. Very, very true. Khabib's been hurt multiple times. Definitely.
Could I be am I one of the very few people, if I'm not really a fan of either of those two fighters, Khabib or McGregor right now? Is that weird? I'm like less than 2%.
But no, I feel like, as you're saying, trying to hold up the division and trying to just kind of keep getting paid for what you're worth and not fighting and not give up that belt or even that number position, because those are coveted. People don't like to give away their rankings, and that's why they won't fight unranked guys a lot of times. All that will bite you in the ass eventually. Eventually, people will keep fighting, and all of a sudden you're at the back of the line, because if people aren't talking about you, they're not going to pay you money.
I feel like in this UFC world that we live,
right,
with the Mike Perrys of the world and the Colby Covingtons of the world and the Israel Adesanyas of the world, and these are all guys that talk themselves into title shots. Not because they climb the rankings. So rankings don't mean shit. And the other thing is, if you look, Conor McGregor's still in the pound for pound list. And that is insanity.
Unbelievable.
So it's like the UFC can make happen whatever they want. They can they're trying to figure out some way to keep his name in the talks when they talk about them. And all that other stuff is just kind of like, you just kind of whatever, phooey. It's to me, I don't even give a shit about the belts anymore. I think if Nate Masvidal...
I was about to say, there better be a bad motherfucker belt being made in some workshop right now. But with Conor McGregor, I've said it before multiple times, I feel like it's leverage. I feel like Conor takes up somebody else's spot that they don't have to pay, and they know he's also going to be... It's way to squeeze other fighters into doing stuff. They're like, oh, that's Conor, you're not going to fuck with him. But,
I think I do have something about Conor, which I'm like, everyone waited. The second Diaz won, I know everybody went to Conor's Twitter, Insta, and was waiting. Because usually he talks about every fight, even if he's not involved.
Right.
And so finally, he came out and said, 3 years to the day myself and this Mexican warrior went to war. Congrats on the win this weekend, Nate. It was motivating to see it for my own comeback. I don't blame you not mentioning me for the trilogy bout post-fight. You know what I'm like when I get going. Vicious. I love the round 3 style from round 1 that you implemented. It's what I was hoping you would implement for the bout, and I was glad to see you did it. I'll be prepared for it when we go again, if we go again. If not, respect always. A war for the ages. No bitch talk, just real shit. So.
Interesting.
What do you, in a weird way, do you think maybe Nate was kind of one of Connor's heroes before he started fighting. Like, he wanted to be that real.
He wanted to be that OG.
Yeah.
Like he was always like, wow, those guys are beasts. Because they were. Both Diaz brothers were by far known in the MMA world before Connor ever was. Years before.
And huge. And just because Dana said they weren't famous, but if you really boiled it down, for me outside of the UFC, before I ever watched, I knew who the Diaz brothers were. And I knew who GSP was. And gosh, there weren't a lot of Brock Lesnar. There weren't a lot of other fighters.
That's horrible, but it's true.
It's true. This is hashtag real talk.
And Rousey, I'm sure.
Well, no, because I came in, she wasn't around yet. I came in right before Ronda. So, like, she was kind of one of the reasons that I'm like, oh, okay, there's going to be some girl fights. Okay. Like, let me come over here and see what's going on. But the Diaz brothers, I knew who they were. So, I think Dana's been talking trash about them for a lot of years. And
100%.
Nate deserves a payday. He's the A side of Game Bread versus Nate.
That's what he's been saying for years now. Absolutely for years that he's been the A side. That's always been the Diaz brothers' rhetoric. Like, no. I should be the lead on the poster. You motherfuckers don't understand.
Do you think he's bigger than his brother?
Yes, at this point,
I do too. And don't you think he's kind of maturing in a way that he's kind of a gentleman? Like,
he's definitely more well spoken than I would think with his thought process. He is very introspective, and just the way that he talks, he throws a lot of motherfuckers, fuck this and fuck that shit, which tends to make people think that he's not as smart as he is. But if you look past that kind of speech, then it's like, oh wow, he really understands his position in the media and what's going on and kind of the moves they're playing, and he's just brash about it. He's
smart.
Right. But he just doesn't formulate it without cursing.
He's playing his own WWE character, but it's himself. But Colby is just taking it to an edge.
Correct.
But the reason these guys are so big is because they're going polar with their personality,
right,
in a way. And even the way of calling out Masvidal, not talking shit. Like, I know he's a real gangster, but he ain't a West Coast gangster.
Whoop, whoop.
You know, so it makes it smart. Like the East-West thing, the battle. Anyway.
Back to the good old rap days.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about it. Cormier versus Jones 3. Dead in the water?
Yes. I don't want to see Cormier fight. Like, what's the reason for that fight?
Should he retire? Is it done? Just hang up the gloves.
It's pretty much done. I mean, what super fights could you see Daniel Cormier in other than Jones?
I don't know if
Stipe 3 because they're 1-1 in finishes.
And the only other fight I can even think of, and this is horrible because I do not think it would end well for DC, and it would be the ending no one would want to see, Francis Ngannou.
I don't want to see that either.
Yeah, no one wants to see that.
It's either John Jones or
the Stipe trilogy a year from now.
So a trilogy either way, exactly, and it's a year from now. Either fight Jones, and then that's probably it for DC. But fighting a contender, fighting a Ozdemir, a Reyes, a Rakic.
That doesn't do anything.
Or no, not even Rakic. I got to a heavyweight. I'm way out of the weight classes.
I'm way out of here. Fighting Khabib. But that's what Khabib said beforehand. Win or lose, he wanted Daniel to retire.
I agree with that.
And I like totally also that something that I heard, there's a lot of difference between 38 and 40. And I agree with that too. So, yeah.
Those are the fights I only see for him, but his time is pretty much...
I think it's fine.
Done nothing else. He's got so much other shit going on as well. We don't like to see a lot of fighters doing this multiple career stuff. We like them being hardcore fighting, and Daniel Cormier is too big of a name to take a no-name fight, to just get in there with some random monster where it's like, sit back. You have barbershops now. He has diners. He works for the UFC commentary team. Like,
yeah, he has a lot going on.
He works for ESPN as well.
People say he's good with his money, so he doesn't even need it. He got paid $500,000 for the Stipe fight.
Boom.
Stipe made $750.
And they get pay-per-view shares when they're the main event for a belt.
Oh, that was I don't know what.
Yeah, that's all background stuff for sure.
Nate, I think, made $225.
Good for that, and he's interesting.
He was the guy who brought the numbers, but we knew they were kind of doing that for a favor because they probably thought Cormier would be able to retire. That was my guess. Like, it was a big number fight, but And I'll see if I can somehow make a link from Jones Cormier. So if you're not interested in that, any thoughts that this could actually go down with Lesnar versus Bones?
I think Lesnar's just a guy who knows how to keep his name relevant, and he's just now using the UFC ties to maybe raise his paycheck with WWE, because even though they say they have contracts for years, they're always renegotiating. Always. Yeah. Once there's names in the headlines, they're like, hey, boss, UFC saying they're willing to pay me this, so what do you got to do? And then they write out the checkbook. He knows how to get paid.
Doesn't it behoove the WWE for Brock to fight in real fights in the UFC, or only if he's winning?
Only if he's winning.
If he's getting...
Yeah, if he's getting murked.
Do you think Jon Jones murks him?
In a heartbeat. Not in a heartbeat. Brock Lesnar has a shot against anybody, but Jon Jones will make Brock Lesnar quit in there a lot quicker than Brock will make Jones quit any day of the week. That's like easily 9-1 odds I see. I don't see that being close at all.
Oh,
do you see it close? If they were to fight, exactly.
I don't want to see. I don't even want to see.
I don't want to see it either. That's why they only use it as a negotiation tip. Jones will take that fight, of course, because it's an easy fight for him, and he can make the most amount of money fighting the least experienced guy. I'm sure he'd call out freaking CM Punk if he would have stayed in the division, because he gets asses in the seats. He gets pay-per-view buys, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's... CM Punk, do you want to... If he fights again...
Ugh.
He still has one more fight on his contract.
Well, he's going to be on like a commentary team now for the UFC as well.
Huh.
There's rumblings on that, yeah. Like he's going to, I think, either Dana White Contender Series or something of that vein. Maybe he's doing some other side commentary stuff for the UFC.
Do you think if he goes back to WWE, he'd be a big character anymore?
I think he would be. Like Brock, I think that now he transitions and he picks up some MMA fans that are like, all right, I'll go watch you wrestle.
Huh. Okay, I just am like, huh. That was such a weird thing. I picked him once.
Oh, God, I feel like I picked him once too, and then he blocked me. Freaking Phil Baroni, what's his name?
Yeah, Coach Phil. Okay, so, and if we are transitioning from heavyweights and talking about the heavyweight champ, any Lesnar versus Stipe interest?
No Lesnar. No Lesnar.
Okay.
But give me Jon Jones, Stipe, all day. Stipe looks like he can make 205 after that last showing.
Do you think Jones walks through Stipe?
No, I think that's a really fun fight.
That's a good fight, I think, as well. That's a really fun fight. That's a super fight. Especially the way John's cardio looked the last fight, in my opinion. I felt like Stipe, to use DC's terminology, but he embraced the grind. Yep. And by the fourth, end of the third, fourth, probably the fifth would have been his round too. He started to pick it up. Even without the knockout, he was taking four-handedly to me. Yeah. So I would say that Jon Jones would easily weigh in at 220 and be in shape, where he wouldn't have to cut like the 15 pounds he does to make 205. Mm-hmm. So he'd probably easily weigh in. But Stipe would probably be in that 240 range. So they wouldn't be that far off, where there is heavyweights that come in at freaking... They would be like 17 pounds difference, I think. Not... Did you end up seeing what the California Commission did by getting the reweigh-ins the next day and seeing who weighed the most? So Youssef ended up weighing 16.4 pounds more the next day worth of weight is what he put on. I feel like Daniel Cormier put on like 14 pounds. Stipe put on like 12 or 10 pounds. That's not actually as much as I thought. I thought DC would have put on 20 pounds, but he actually looked really good. They both look really lean in there. But Youssef, 16.4. I know the day after districts and wrestling for me, I ended up gaining 18 pounds, but I couldn't fucking move, let alone fight another grown man. I feel like I had a day of just being like, I can't, but they're weighing it out. Fight another grown man. So, okay. It was interesting. Stay in my last heavyweight question is Stipe versus Bader. Oh. Who would you have? Stipe, easy. Easy? Easy. Huh. Easy. Bader's looking good in there, but Bader hasn't done anything he didn't do in the UFC. So he's just doing it against Bellator guys. I love his left hook, but Bader, is he the heavyweight or 205? Because he's not going to get the 205 belt because Jones ate him alive. Yeah, I think that's
It has to be Miocic.
I don't think he fought at heavyweight in the UFC, did he?
He did not. Only 205. So, and Bader as well. I'm just going to say, Bellator doesn't have this most stringent USADA testing that the UFC...
He's on like Turnbull.
He's looking better than he ever has
He's
in a long time.
He's hot
in
bodied
a
up.
long time. And he's throwing with power that he hasn't thrown since he was a young guy before USADA. Just throwing that shit out there. Call me out on it if I'm wrong. Freaking look that shit up.
Yeah, he does look all body.
I remember talking about TJ. People were like, nah, TJ's clean. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you've been talking about TJ forever.
For years before, just like, well, you guys know his body changed fucking quickly.
Do you agree with the Diaz brothers?
Everybody's
on steroids.
Everybody's on steroids.
Okay, speaking of two guys that don't look like they're on steroids, Askren versus Maya.
Which I feel like Maya's popped on steroids.
And they're calling it the best grappler belt.
I love it.
Do you really think, I mean, we all love Ben, but has he really shown to be UFC caliber? Or has he just gotten two brutal walks with two brutal guys or two sketchy Indians?
I don't think he's proven that he's UFC caliber. I think he had one super sketchy outing, and then the second one was... It was fluky. It wasn't lucky because you saw the training for that. So it's not lucky if you fucking practice it and throw it. But I do think that Askren, in key matchups where he doesn't have to worry about the striking, he has the most advantage. Even if he loses, he has the most advantage and the least amount of risk. So these are the type of fighters he does want to be fighting. But I don't think he's even proven he's Damian Maia level.
What about if Damian Maia knocks him out?
Like Damian Maia, we've never seen him before. That'd be hilarious. That would be so funny. Who would you pick in that?
Gosh, I feel like the showings that Askren's had, but the showings he's had make me want to pick Maia, but also I just gotta think that Ben's wrestling can stifle Maia's jiu-jitsu. I gotta think that. But neither guy's striking is dangerous enough, so it's gonna end up on the ground.
All I gotta say is look up Ben Askren versus Marcelo Garcia, 145er with one hand. Notoriously changed jiu-jitsu world with guillotines and stuff. He got on the mat with Ben Askren for all of about 2 minutes and 30 seconds at his gym. Tap. And Ben Askren was like, wow, that was good, thanks. And then they kept rolling because that's just what happens on the ground. But as far as jiu-jitsu guys, Ben Askren can be submitted. So people that come out here saying that he's never been submitted in competition and all this, well, yeah, that's technically true.
But he hasn't fought the best competition either.
Exactly, guys that were really going to be able to test him on the ground. So he hasn't shown a lot. I got Maia heavy.
Really?
Heavy!
Huh.
Because Ben Askren does get to the ground. He likes to come out that back door nonstop. Damian Maia is going to read that immediately, and he tripods as good as Ben Askren. But then once they really get on the ground, Maia's so good off of his back that Ben Askren doesn't know how to be off of his back. Yeah.
He's a huge 170er.
I easily see Damian Maia being a 2-1 favorite, and if it's anything less than that, put money on it when those odds keep coming out.
You guys should do that now.
I'm just saying. If that fight's coming about, I have Damian Maia leaps and bounds. Because he doesn't have to worry about getting struck up either.
Yeah, neither guys have to worry about it at all. It'll be grappling only. I like that. Here's something that's kind of cool or not cool or whatever, but we can throw it out. It's cool because it's a shout out to us, but for the guy, he needs a little bit of assistance. So he tweeted at us and he said, 5 weeks ago, excited to put on a show, still looking for sponsors. If interested, please contact me. Anything helps. From UFC fighter Alex Perez.
At LaTB, thank you very much, Mr. Perez. We appreciate it. Hey, that's the least we could do.
Yeah, on the Instagram, which we're throwing everywhere, Lappy_MMA. Look who liked it first. Or biggest. Carla Esparza.
Ooh, Carla, what's up, girl? Cookie Monster coming in, showing up. You know, C is for cookie. That's good enough for me.
So I thought that was like, oh, okay, we'll take it. Here's some bullshit, some real bullshit. When I was looking stuff up that I was like, are you kidding me? The prelims for UFC Shenzhen start at 3 a.m.
Boom, boom, boom.
Main card, 6 a.m.
Son of a gun. Unbelievable. Guess what? Luckily, I'm home. Last time we had a card, I was visiting family at extended family's house at 3 a.m. sitting in bed watching them on my phone because I'm a degenerate. I got homework next to me.
I'm going to go to bed early.
Yep.
Wake up. I'm going to watch them. The main card comes on at 6. It'll be over at 10, and then I'm going to go to the bar.
It's over at 10 a.m.?
No, it's probably over like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
No later than 10.
Well, it would 9 a.m. Oh, interesting. 9, because 6 hours. They're usually
at least
at most
we're
6
talking
hours.
Eastern Standard Time.
Correct.
Of course, like we always say, look up your own local listings. But then when I was looking up something that surprised the shit out of me. UFC Abu Dhabi.
Oh, yes.
What time does that start?
Let's say 5 or 6 East Coast time.
Because it's a pay-per-view.
Sure.
And pay-per-views always start at what time? At our time.
5, our time
10,
East Coast.
Like
right.
10 p.m.
3
They
p.m.
always start. West Coast, they usually start at 7 p.m. if you're getting the pay-per-view.
I think it's like 3 p.m.
No, but you keep talking prelims. I'm
okay.
just main card.
Oh,
You're
okay,
just getting
okay.
the prelims.
Oh, okay. That's what starts for me. When you guys ask me numbers, I start from the bottom of the
prelims,
top.
3 a.m. Main card, 6 a.m. That's UFC Shenzhen. UFC 242. I never seen this before. Prelims, 10 a.m. Main card, 2 p.m. A 2 p.m. pay-per-view.
Wow. On a Saturday, 242.
Poirier, Khabib.
Wow. That is unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. I never seen such a thing. A pay-per-view at 2 p.m.? That's so crazy.
Absolutely.
It's like they're trying to tap football, like a Sunday football or something idea. It's a weird... But it's in Abu Dhabi, which if they are expecting as many people to watch Khabib as they say...
So I've heard. So maybe the money's talking and they're like, hey, we know that this is going to peak this part of the world at this time. And hey, as Americans...
We don't always have to be first.
We get a little spoiled sometimes.
I don't even think we're the biggest market anymore for them.
But I think we're the most generous market. Americans are known to spend their money on things they appreciate. I could be wrong there, but I feel like Americans... I saw a lot of Conor McGregor Reebok shirts.
I read that the UFC... it's this one. For UFC 243... 1 billion people expected to watch.
That's one numbers.
I thought that was crazy expectation.
Wow, that's unreal. But that's just to watch. That's not to buy pay-per-views? Or is that a pay-per-view? No way it's a
That's
billion.
just to watch.
Because that's a million
That's
pay-per-views.
just to watch. But
usually.
not every country has to have pay-per-view.
True. That's why that BT2 comes in so clear.
1 billion people. That says that MMA as a sport is significantly growing fast. Because you can fight everywhere with zero things.
The one organization always claims it gets up to like 6 or 7 billion people it reaches because it's the only one out of Asia.
But I think there's only 7 billion people on the planet.
That they say watchers. I don't know the numbers they get. I'm telling you, that's what Chach Sitri Tong or whatever says.
Yeah, and I never watched it once, so that's already wrong. But the other thing is, what if apparently Dana says every single one of the main cards coming up, he has the big pay-per-views, he has people to sub and go and weigh in. You know how like Gillespie did, and he didn't end up having to fight, like a backup.
Uh-huh.
So if Whitaker or Adesanya are hurt, who fills in?
Can't be Bohachina. He's too hurt.
He said he wouldn't.
Yeah, because he's too hurt. He's like, I gotta heal.
Even if he said he was healed, he said he wouldn't because...
He wants to train for him.
He wants to fully train. He said, you don't know how hard I train, and you don't know how injured I get during training. So...
Interesting. But they gotta have someone, because they've been doing that for these...
And if it's not Yoel, and if it's not Boronchina, who would it be?
At 185.
Kelvin?
Easy. He's a big enough name. He'll fight any... Because he has nothing to lose. He'll step in short notice.
Well, but we don't want to see Kelvin Adesanya again.
I agree with that. Even though it was potentially a fight of the year contender.
Jacare?
Hermanson?
Maybe Hermanson.
But he's got a fight coming up here real quick. But of course, he'll take a belt for a belt. Yeah.
And maybe they don't want to weigh him in that
Here we go. Do you think out of nowhere Rakic would take that? That's the 85 I was talking about earlier. You brought me on to Rakic.
Yeah, I like him, but I don't think he's high enough up to even excite
Get
a crowd.
the name thrown in there?
Yeah, I don't think that does it. No, 185? Shit. It's really odd. I don't know.
Brunson just came off of a win. That was a decision. He's been a name up there for a while.
Kind of too
Interesting.
close. Yeah, they'd have to
There are
weigh
a lot
in.
of young guys.
And Dana said he already had it taken care of.
So it's whoever, because that's what I was going to say as well. They've been having these extra guys weigh in at championship weight, but they've been paying them, so they're going to fly them out and pay them to make weight. Once we see who weighs in, well, that's the alternative. Who was it before? OSP. He's been the guy to come in on one day's notice.
I weigh
Eric
in
Anders.
Kelvin and Jacare, and if
It's probably Eric Anders.
he'll do anything.
I'm telling you, he'll go to Brazil on 3 days and be like, I always wanted to go to Brazil. He will go. They'll be like, dude, he might not make weight 5 days out, and Anders will be like, I'm on my way, boss. He totally, you know your boy.
He'll be like 170, I'm there. 245, got you.
Your boy, always
Yeah,
coming through.
for
He will-
sure.
He will definitely take it on short notice. Khalil Roundtree even, he just beat him in there. So he's been around for a bit.
Yeah, that one kind of stumped me for a little bit.
I think we got some good names in there. We got some good potential contenders that would take it, and it wouldn't be the worst fights ever, but it'll just muddy up the waters with these interim belt garbage. And yes, having them and no. I actually would love, but I know the UFC is going to be doing this, where they're going to start to write a clause. You can only wear the UFC belt over your shoulder and nothing else. Because if we have Diaz showing up with the bad motherfucking belt, Ben Askren showing up with the grappling belt.
This is what we've said forever, though. The more belts, why don't they do this?
I
like
agree.
East Coast Continental Champion belt, West of the Mississippi belt,
Yep.
whatever. I don't care what
Agreed.
they go with.
I
The
love it.
Badlands when they fight, and it's like just a belt for that. And if somebody, you can put your belt on the line, and you can have more than one. We've always said we want to walk out like boxers
Correct.
with all the belts. I like it. Did you watch any of the Contender? I did not.
I ended up watching some of those bouts. I couldn't tell you any of the names other than Shabazian. The main event was Eric Shabazian in the UFC's younger brother.
Huh? How did he look?
Good for a split second. Then he got swarmed on.
Wasn't ready.
At the end of the first round, he got all sorts of beat up. His girlfriend actually ran up to the cage security. Had to fucking escort her out of the building.
That was her. I saw that.
She was like, get out! Get out! Get out! And he's getting on the ground fucking.
Oh my.
But, I mean, he ate some humongous shots. If you see that 170-pounder haul, unbelievable that guy makes 170 pounds. There's a photo that just came out of him with Mike Perry because he trains in Orlando with Mike Perry. He's a head taller than Perry fighting at 170 pounds. And jacked. Fucking jacked. So he's going to be trouble for anyone. He said to himself.
There's always, like, never siblings that they both are awesome.
Gotta say, Tay Les, baby. Tay Les, Chef Chank.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, but she proved
came
good.
up.
She proved good. She's stepping
good.
up.
And so did Tay Les. We bet him as an underdog, and he came through. It's just they're never as good as the ones we know him for.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. So Shabazian, speaking of, look at that. That was a perfect transition. Don't they have the same coach or used to?
Oh, they did. We had it with that movement. Tarvurian telling you, get your finger out of there, girl. Get your finger out of there.
I covered it because I saw it. Most of them were censored, and then once I saw it, I'm like, I can't look at that again.
I told you, be careful.
Yeah.
That's a brutal one out there. Ronda Rousey being on the show. Reno 911, something 911. It's not Reno 911.
That was such a great show. But now if you watched it, it would probably be not allowed.
Oh, it'd be Me Too.
Climate.
Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Easy on that show. So, Ronda Rousey ended up getting her finger jammed in one of the props. I mean, I know she's a part of that SAG. I know she's paying them union dues or she would have never got that job, and she's about to get paid. She about to get paid.
Oh my god.
Hey, finger almost severed, completely off, bone broken. I mean, it doesn't look like it should be attached. It looks like it should be one of those illusions, like, you know, where it's the slide and it's like these lines all attached, and you're like, no, they don't.
And she looks effed up in the face. Like,
Because she was crying. Because she was
like she has a scratch across her face and then like a big scratch on her chin. Like she probably, and who knows what's going on anywhere else. Like it looks like, like when her finger got taken, like she maybe jumped to try to, spin with it or something. Oh my gosh. So she got her finger stuck in a what?
I heard it was a prop weapon.
Oh my gosh.
And to me, what it looked like, in the military, they always teach you, keep your hand out of the bolt, or if you're in close hand combat, close quarter combat, if you have to stick your hand, the meat of your hand, in that barrel, you're going to get stitches, but that weapon will not work. And I feel like that's what happened with her finger. It got stuck up near the bolt action.
Things I just heard today.
And it's shot in there.
Who controls the grip, it's who controls the nozzle.
Correct.
I'm like, huh, I've never heard that.
All you do is grab it, and they can shoot through your hand, but point it up that way, and then start working them Tony Ferguson elbows, baby. Start working, doing something, but you don't let go of that thing. Once you got hands on it, you don't let go, and you point it away from you. So, don't try that at home. Best thing to do is run, give them all your money, and run. That's the real,
Rhonda,
stuff.
That is a nasty
Brutal,
finger.
Brutal.
Oh my God! I don't even. You guys look it up at your own risk.
Where does she go from here?
No, I think she'll get knocked and have a big old
fat belly, but no, because she's gonna be on the show. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, you fell out of that window, Jennifer, and you broke your hand," and she'll be like, "Yep, gonna be in a car." It's like some.
Like SVU or something.
No. It's more serious. It's more like Rescue 911. But it's like a drama where she's like a firefighter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but there's guns involved.
So that's why she left the UFC.
And
WWE. That's what I meant. Ooh,
yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yep, she'll have to get it all stitched back up, and then she'll always be scared to squeeze the gun.
Right.
Or whatever happened.
Woo. What else is left on the docket for the Fight Free weekend? We do have some Bellator cards. They're pretty garbage, though. Rudy Shafroth, homeboy out of Boren, Oregon, just throwing it out there. Watch him. He'll probably get the win.
Speaking of a guy out of Oregon, we can't remember if we talked about this on air or not. So the Food Truck Diaries.
We did. I feel like
we talked about it like in the kitchen.
We could have as well. But, I mean, Colby Covington
was on with Brendan Schaub. Yeah.
Letting you know what you need to. I loved how the women in the background of that, when he was talking about how he was like, "Oh, you know, I get my practice in the bed," the girls were like, "Oh, damn it. My face is on camera." It's like, yeah, lady, what do you think was going to happen? Did you not do your research and say, Colby Covington, why is he paying me $100 to hang out with him?
It's so funny you said that because Brendan Schaub said that those girls were obviously hired actresses.
Duh.
And they did not know what they signed up for at all. That one of the girls said, "Oh, so you guys are professional fighters? Do you want me to say anything?" And Brendan was like, "No, I got it." And then one of the Colby said when they were sitting there eating and he was chatting, he was like, "Hey, come massage me to one of the girls." And they were like, "We are not massaging you. We did not." And he's like, "Come on, come and do a little bit of this. Just squeeze my shoulders a little bit on."
He did his best Ron Jeremy impression. He's
just come on,
just touch me.
Hook me up, give me. I'm not. You don't have to really put anything into it. Just while he's chatting with me.
I give you $200, lady. Come on.
I know. Yeah, it was kind of like that, but it was kind of funny hearing Brennan.
I love it. I heard Brennan getting some more heat over the weekend over some stuff he's been talking about. What has he been saying? Because you are the Brennan Schaub whisperer.
I don't know what he said if people are mad.
I mean, a lot of things he says makes people mad.
I don't know.
But with the whole Colby stuff, I just absolutely love it. And those women deserve everything that came their way because, again, it wouldn't have been hard for them being like, "What's the cash? What's your name again?" And then just Instagramming real quick and being like, "Oh, he hires porn stars most of the time to be his backup women."
Well, he's probably because I hear from everyone, he's
the
really
nicest guy.
guy.
Nicest guy in the world.
So he probably goes in and he's like, "Hi, my name's Colby. Can I hire you for the day?" And they're like, "Yay, easy job." They answer a Craigslist or something.
You just stay in the background, girl.
Then he throws on the MAGA hat with the sunglasses with this character, and all of a sudden they're involved in a WWE skit.
And there's times I feel like I can see Colby through those glasses looking at those girls being like, "They're not going to like this." But he starts fucking saying it, and then he has a shit-eating grin, and it's just like, "Oh, you stupid ladies."
But he made Brendan Schaub laugh a bunch. He's really smart. So.
He is hilarious. I am, again, Colby Covington fan. You're not going to get me to freaking talk bad on that one. B-Shop, though, that guy can go
And right now, we're both leaning toward Colby to beat
In the-
Usman. I don't know if we talked about that on
We
air.
did talk about that.
I felt like
already.
you said that off air, and I was like, what?
No, I think
I'm going to bring this
Colby
up on
wins.
air.
I think
you
Colby
guys can
wins
chime
this.
in. 'Cause I don't think he said. I thought he said Usman, and I went with Colby. Maybe we didn't even talk about it yet. But I just think, if we say Colby, there's, because Usman used to be our dude
Oh, yes.
for a long time.
Yeah, but once he gets the belt, then it's like, all right, time to move on.
If
Same
I
with
ever went
Shea.
to a fight with Colby, would you get a MAGA hat and have him sign it? Colby, sign my hat.
Ooh, I might get put in the doghouse for that one.
Yeah, so much trouble. The MAGA hat. Just having ordering
I
it.
would love it. Yeah, but I would love just a signature from Colby regardless of what it is. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. I'm sure easily in Florida we could easily get a Colby Covington signature.
We got some
'Cause
good signatures.
a lot of people do not get, like, I don't see people come flocking for Colby's signature all the time. Do you?
No, I would. Without
But I would
I
in a heartbeat. If he was around, I'd be like, hey, dude, what's up?
Yeah, without I'd
He's
be
from
so
Oregon.
kind to him.
Yeah. Well, I know homies that know him. Rudy Shafroth.
But I
one
get
of
the
those.
shtick. If I wouldn't go up to the Undertaker and be like, I'm gonna call the cops.
Yeah. Agreed. The Iron Sheik. You're gonna be like, "Where's your passport?
Yeah, what are you doing here, buddy?
Who are those? Your kids? Did you steal them? No, dude.
I know. I'm
Back
like,
off.
why are we even bothering going to war when we can just send Hulk Hogan over?
Yeah.
Like, they don't think that way. So I get what Colby's doing. Okay.
100%.
I figured this was like kind of a good way to go out on today's show, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it okay, even though there's no fights coming up. Our quick takes on the main events coming up that are on schedule so far, and I don't know what fight cards they are, but maybe together we can remember what fight cards they are. So, first coming up for UFC Shenzhen, Andrade versus Zhang.
Zhang?
Yeah, that was like...
We tried it. We
that
worked
was
on
it.
that.
And yeah, good luck.
So-
what do you got going on? What's your thoughts on this right now?
Oh, that's a fun main event, but Zhang's taking a humongous step up. She did look good in her first two opponents, but none of them have been even close to the caliber of Andrade. I mean, she's lost some fights in there, but they've been against now. We've seen high-level women in there, so...
Too much too soon?
Too much too soon. A lot of power there. On the ground. Yeah, just so much power for Andrade. It's just... People talk about these times, these post-fight letdowns. Once they get the champion, it's like work to the top to be the gold again is really hard. And it's a big travel day, and that's where there's intangibles here that do work for Zhang. And I do like Andrade in this, but Zhang has a shot, for sure. And it's not rare for us to hear, especially out of China, people being like, I didn't know what the trip to China was going to be about. The food. Like, there's always something that ends up, I feel like, going wrong.
A female Chinese woman is going to fill that arena. I
agree.
I think that's kind of cool just for the world kind, like movement of the world. I think that's very cool. The hope I have for Zhang is that I think Rose was picking Andrade apart the entire fight. It was kind of like...
Cormier DC.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
like the entire fight. And it wasn't because Andrade all of a sudden had better cardio. It was that slam alone that kind of stopped that whole entire thing. I think that point fighting and staying away from Andrade, I think Yang can kind of do that same style, mimic that style.
I can see that for
And
sure.
I think she'll have better cardio, even though she hasn't been 5 rounds, and Andrade has. The one thing that I worry about that I don't know at all is how Zhang's ground game is, because we saw Andrade brutal like Claudio Gadelha, who is like...
Exactly, and that's what I think. I feel like Andrade will be able to stop most of those submission attempts. So then on the feet, it's the power. Zhang's a good striker, though. So I like what you're saying. It's a bit of a close fight, but just... Look at the caliber, the roster of fighters. If this wasn't in China, Zhang wouldn't have got this fight.
The winner of this fight will end up, and these are out of order, but fighting the winner of this fight, I think.
Which is JJ versus Watterson in Tampa, Florida in October.
Yes,
Now.
we may go, but we already did go once this year, and it's kind of a lot to ask. We didn't know they'd be back 2 times in a year.
And the tickets, I feel like I've seen
Well,
it.
they're not really on sale yet. That's just how
Oh.
much the scalpers are trying to get before they're even on sale.
Sons of guns.
Yeah,
And
it
ain't
covers
cheap.
their bases just in case if you end up buying a $200 ticket for them and the tickets go on sale for $190, they still make their money. So I think that's why they go so expensive at first. I'm hoping, but Tampa, we've been to Joe Rogan there, and that's expensive city.
It is an expensive city, and it is across the state, but we do what we got to do. JJ, and I mean, I love both women. I think it's a really fun fight. I used to not believe in Watterson so much. She's definitely put it together, and JJ is a sweetheart of Florida. I mean, she loves Florida, living her best life out here, seeing beach shots every day. She's one of those ladies that goes to the beach 3 times a week, if not more.
She's loving the whole night on her bike.
Yep.
Riding to the gym.
When she first was becoming champ, she had a fiance. Bye, fiance.
That's true. I remember that guy.
But yeah, exactly. And now she's in America getting all sorts of Brazilian collars and all sorts of stuff because she's living in a hot city in Miami, living the best.
So
she's
you
got.
think JJ takes it?
I think it's a 5-round fight. I do think JJ takes it. Watterson has angles in here. Her kicks play a factor, but yeah, I think JJ takes it.
Her kicks, she has a better ground game. She could submit her as well. I know JJ has great defense.
Sure. The good takedown for Watterson?
Is it the Muay Thai versus karate style?
Yes, that's exactly it.
I feel like I'm getting more educated listening to the show.
Do its bare essentials. Now, these aren't mixed martial arts. It's mixed martial arts fighters, so they both do have ground games, better wrestling, but as far as their striking styles, what you break it down to, but that's why Watterson has a lot of like hook kicks that score points and hit you out of nowhere, and we've seen JJ not take the best shots that she doesn't see coming, and that's what Michelle Watterson does best.
Fast.
Yes.
Fast.
Exactly.
Fast.
Very Stephen Thompson-esque for the ladies.
Oof, I think if JJ wins, she could get her belt back.
I agree. It's a toss-up. I'll get because she's beat Andrade and she's beat her with exactly how point fighting her, keeping her at distance, not letting the takedowns accumulate. So JJ has everything
I
there.
think Watterson, I might have her as a little ugly underdog right now.
And
Not that
Rose,
she's ugly, but I just think that it's scary. It's a scary underdog to pick, but I think she could do it. I think Watterson will be the underdog. I think it'll be 2-1.
I
think
see
you can
that.
get her for. You'll be able to get her for like 7-2 on DK.
And she's going to be the play.
Yeah,
it's going to be a 5-rounder.
I like her.
Main event.
JJ's worth points too.
She throws out a lot of output.
But I don't like JJ going to 115 anymore.
I
think
agree.
it makes her dehydrated, and I think Michelle Watterson could knock her out.
And
I
she's
think
got
you're saying the right thing.
She's got 250 cc's of extra weight that she has to cut off.
Yeah, that's...
Or like 500, because on each side.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
true. Have we seen her fight since those?
Yeah, we have.
Okay. But that's all fun. And Jiang Watterson, also fun. That whole little foursome.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not even talking about Rose.
That's what I was about to say. And then let's say JJ wins, Rose immediately comes in and takes the belt again. Because Rose has got her number. But that's just styles make fights. But then Rose might lose to Watterson in a dirty split. I feel like they've fought before.
Love this. Yeah, I think Rose knocked her out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I think she did.
That's right.
Yeah, fun. Even if Watterson, that's a whole fun thing. So for that division,
Mix up.
Okay, other fights coming up. Obviously, we were talking about Israel and Whitaker.
To say the 15, last thing. And then we didn't even talk about Macy Barber and all those other 15ers coming up.
Oh, yeah, there's Beast coming up.
Beast on the way. So, back to the quick take. Watterson, Whitaker, Adesanya at 185. What are they nicknames for themselves? Like the Yowie versus the Landy or something?
Dial Bender.
No, they have slangs for their own names.
Howley. No, that's what they call
Hawaiian.
Whitey in Hawaiian.
Yep. Or Pigeon.
There is a Kiwi. Is one of them a Kiwi? Because they're saying they're New Zealand, but not. But there's a different name for it. Yeah, I don't know the racist terms over there. I did teach somebody not to say gypsy.
I didn't know gypsy was bad.
It's not in America, but worldwide it's racist. Like if you're just trying to be on the right side of whatever, because it's from people that I think they were from Romani. It was a type of person from Romani, and people always mistake those people to be from Romania, and they were like, no, we're not that at all. And the reason that they got their name Gypsy was because way back when they were like, look at those Egyptians, that's what they first thought they were, because they were dark skinned. So then eventually it was gypsy, whatever.
Interesting.
But yeah, apparently it's racist, and I don't really know why, because here, I guess, but there's a lot of like African American slang that's in this country that other people are like, what? I didn't know I couldn't call that guy boy. Where, you know what I mean? Like, there's things that don't transfer to other countries. So
right.
I think you'd be lenient with gypsy right now. I think people, but if you were on Twitter and you were a big enough person, like if you were Joe Rogan and you wrote something, you'd get shit. You'd get shit for saying gypsy.
I feel like we're playing with fire. The fire alarm going off in the background.
Yeah, that was a whole lesson why we were talking about Whitaker Adesanya. Okay. Hey, but I didn't go into the whole transgender debate today, so I figured...
Getting some heat. Trying to get banned off that Twitterverse.
Yeah, right. So if you're not following Zoltanite and at Weakneck Baby to see what we're talking about, make sure you do that, or always at _MMA, which I talked about the Instagram earlier. But so Whitaker Adesanya, back to the real thing we're trying to get through here. What are your thoughts right now?
Oh, I mean, Whitaker's always getting hurt issues. Striking wise, it's karate versus kind of that Muay Thai still, even though Stylebender, or he was a kickboxer. He was a Muay Thai guy. So yeah, it's karate Muay Thai, what we were just kind of breaking down. But Whitaker has good fight IQ, good takedowns. Adesanya can get taken down. Ugh. This is a coin flip. As far as all of them, we've talked about this one, I feel like is the hardest to pick. I do want to say I'm going with Whitaker because he's the most proven guy.
My guess is he'll be the favorite.
Right, but I think it's going to be slight favorite, like -125 to like the even money for Adesanya. So I see this being really, really close. I could see myself switching to Adesanya. I do like his last fight with Kelvin. I like that he proved that he can be in a tough fight, because he is going to be in a tough fight, and that actually closed the line. I would have probably been more on Whitaker.
And turn on round 5 when it was necessary, which was a big deal.
He proved a lot in that fight, which is really, really good. But it's that's the closest fight I feel like out of all of them.
I did have Whitaker. I have Adesanya now because I think Whitaker has had 2 fights with Yoel Romero, super injured all the time. I think the amount of quickness difference between the 2 fighters is going to be telling, and I think Whitaker is going to be swinging at air a lot more than we think. And he'll probably break his leg in the second round and then fight through it like a monster. Right now I have Adesanya, but I don't... Yeah, it's the Kelvin fight all together, because I actually think power for power, Kelvin probably punches harder. Like, everywhere I was worried with Whitaker or Adesanya being able to take Whitaker's punch, he took some...
True, he took some humongous shots, for sure. They both did. So that's a fun one. Cannot wait. That's going to be a fun stacked card. It's been getting set up there recently. I feel like somebody just fell out of one of those cards. It was, off the top of my head, Mike Grundy, Darren Till's partner, who just debuted in the UFC. Had a great showing in there.
I forgot this fight was coming up, and I don't remember where it is.
When is this even coming up? I didn't even know. I thought this was just
I can look it up right now. No, this is a
Donald
real life.
Cerrone versus Justin Gaethje. Is that official?
Yes, it's official.
Whoa.
I'll tell you when it is. I'll look it up right now.
Interesting. I mean, that is such a fun fight. Donald Cerrone doesn't do the best when somebody comes out fast, and Justin Gaethje does that better than anybody, or as good as anybody in there. Whew. Cerrone's been looking good.
I think that's BC too. That's UFC British Columbia.
Who's the main? Are they the main event?
They're the main event.
Gotta be.
Yeah, I think they're the main event.
Gotta be.
Yeah, so UFC British Columbia, Vancouver. That's official.
Woo!
That's Google official.
Cerrone just coming off of that loss to Tiefer for that eye injury.
And Justin Gaethje, is he off a win?
Over Vic? Knocked him out in like 2 seconds and like 10
can't be his
seconds.
last fight.
Maybe he had one more, but I do think that was it. I feel like I'm right on that one. Who would you have? I got
Justin Gaethje.
I got Gaethje as well. I think he, again, blows him out in the first round. You know what, though?
The crazy part is, these are 2 fighters, like, oddly enough, that against each other are gonna, they both get better as the fight goes on. They're both like their warm up.
Well, I feel like Gaethje starts
If
way
it's
faster.
a 3 round, yeah, you're
way
right.
Faster.
Than Donald.
Yeah, he
that's where
comes out kicking and swinging for the fucking
You're
fences.
so right, and then he totally gasses.
Yeah, but he still has crazy gas.
Edson Barboza.
Oh, good call. So Edson Barboza, he just beat the.
That's Gaethje, and then he
wow.
lost to Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez. Those were the two that. So he's been on a little win streak with James Vick and Edson Barboza. Yeah, that is not the caliber, though, guys, as Cerrone has been going against right now. And this is the longest we've seen Cerrone take off. Didn't he have that eye injury?
That's what with Ferguson was with the last one. That I was right on that one. Can't get them all right.
But it's a super fight.
Oh, it's easily a super fight. That's got to be the main event. I don't see anything being more hyped than that fight on the card.
Oh, if Donald could survive the first 2 rounds, he wins. That's my quick take.
It's going to be a 5-rounder.
Yeah, if it's the main.
If it's the main card.
Then I see Donald pulling that out.
I don't think Donald gets out of the second round again.
He kicks 2, but I think those leg kicks from Gaethje. But you know what? We already said we're never going to say that again. We're never going to say if Gaethje uses his leg kicks because he just stopped somewhere using that shit.
Yeah, agreed. And he's just like, oh wait, I'll just knock these guys out.
That's such a great fight.
It's such a fun fight.
Such
an amazing fight.
I should have left that one for the end, but here's some other main events coming up. Here's some other main events coming up. I actually thought this is, if I were going to give this main event a belt, I would give it Battle of the Dark Horses. Because
I agree.
Nobody sees either of these two coming.
I don't like this matchup, honestly. I think that they could easily be fighting other people in the division and be better.
And
just
who are
because
we talking about? I don't even know if
it
I said.
is Corey Anderson versus
That's not
Jack
Corey
Hermanson.
Anderson.
Who is that?
Who's that guy that he did fight at 2? He lost all the weight.
Oh, that's my bad. It's oh dang. The Alaskan fighter.
I'm so glad I didn't just go with it.
Alaskan fighter. Oh, what's his name? He moved down to 85. I know his name.
I know, it's like dee.
Came out of the Alaskan. Cannonier. Jared Cannonier.
Yes.
That's who it is. Over Jack Hermanson. I don't like this fight either way. Cannonier's gotten his wrestling better, but he's always had a heavy right hand. Really good boxing.
But not to be racist, they actually kind of do look
They do look like, especially with their afros, when they grow out their hair
and
a
little
bit.
beard. When it's like,
They definitely have been trying to do that.
It's not like you said Derek Brunson or...
Yeah, those are
Francis
totally
Ngannou.
different. Dimitri Johnson.
I feel like it's some European card. I don't remember this one.
Hopefully for Jack, it's over in Europe. But against Cannonier, he has much better a shot than against Anderson, I feel like. Because Cannonier can get out wrestled, and that's where Jack Hermanson can really exploit it. But striking-wise, it's a fun one. It's a really close fight. Hermanson has some fun striking, but on the ground. You know, our boy, we told you beforehand here in Fort Lauderdale that Hermanson was going to come through as a big underdog.
UFC
and he
Copenhagen.
Perfect. For the Swedish fighter, he's going to end up selling that beast out.
Whew, I think those are going to be the hardest punches he ever took.
I agree. Cannonier can crack.
It's going to be how great Hermanson's grind is.
I agree.
He comes on stronger and stronger as the fight goes on, and he's totally... Who do you think will be the underdog?
I think it's going to be Cannonier. Especially with the hometown advantage.
Do you think he can go 5 rounds?
I think he can go 5 rounds. I honestly see this being more of a decision. Even against Corey Anderson, I'd be a decision once he eventually gets that fight. But I just see it being more of a boring fight with Anderson because it's much more wrestling heavy, where Cannonier sprawling brawls. He doesn't want to grapple at all, where Hermanson would be smart to take it to the ground.
Yeah, I think so too. That's, to me, I guess I'm more excited about that fight, but it's definitely one for the hardcores.
It is definitely a hardcore matchup over in Copenhagen.
It's totally for the hardcores, but I also think that it could be a guy that is transitional star power if something good comes out of the fight. But with Little Heathen versus what's his head?
Yair Rodriguez.
Yair Rodriguez. Yeah, Yair.
This.
Jeremy Stevens.
Wow, Jeremy Stevens always been taking hard fights, and this is another hard one. Yair redeemed himself. Is he still off of that zombie fight? Was that his last one?
I think so. That was a war.
And he got brutalized. He was winning. He lost all 5 rounds until that elbow. Easily.
He was losing.
All 5 rounds. So Stevens can redo that. Stevens, I feel like, can mimic a lot of that Korean Zombie style, which I would say that's blueprint. All you got to do is not blitz him in the last 10 seconds or in general, and Yair really taking out that front leg is going to be problems with his kick-heavy game, and as heavy as he plants on it, guys started to figure out, ooh, let me just do that. And guess what Little Heathen's been doing better than he has his entire career? Ask Gil Melendez.
I think Yair actually called he wanted the Zabit fight. Remember how everyone said he was ducking him?
Well, and he got fired for it.
Who?
Dana White's like, and actually, Yair...
No. I think he said he wanted it now. Like, now he's saying,
ready for it?
Yeah, I think so. But I think the Little Heathen fight, looking past Little Heathen, is dangerous for Yair. Do you think Jeremy will be the underdog going in?
I think he might be.
I do too. I think that might be a great little underdog.
Yeah,
he might be the underdog right now. I don't know how soon the fight is.
So. True.
So, okay. And the last one of the quick takes, which I'm more excited about than I thought when I was doing it, but Dominic Reyes versus Chris Weidman at 205.
205, Chris Weidman's debut at 205. He says the damage, the weight cut's finally adding up for him. We have a black belt, Sarah black belt on the ground. Really showed it against Kelvin. Really showed what he could do against heavy strikers. And now watching Reyes have a little bit of trouble with Ozdemir, even in some of those grappling exchanges, the D1 champion wrestler is going to be able to get it to the ground and really exploit it there. Reyes' striking didn't look necessarily as good, but Weidman's chin has definitely had issues, and we just saw Rockhold move up and not had any luck with the chin issues. So Weidman has had a long career and competing for a long time. Weidman should win this fight because technically he's better in almost every facet other than the raw power. But even I think Weidman's boxing's better. But just the youth and the explosiveness of Reyes, I feel like it's one of those type of situations where he's losing 3-4 rounds, and all of a sudden he throws a switch flying knee, and Weidman's like, dang it.
He does the UL.
Nope, dang it, I'm done again.
I'm going to have Weidman in this. I'm
He's the better fighter.
Secure about his move up to 205 than Luke's, but I've been fading Luke for a while. Weidman, I just felt like something's been off, and I think the move up to 205, his camp hasn't really had any luck for a while, but I like the move up for him to 205, and you know what? Maybe for Wonder Boy to 185. Like, let's just make so the whole family can just take the moves up here. Why not?
Agreed.
Maybe it'll give him a little. And Dominic Reyes just looked bad in his last outing to me. Not great.
Totally agreed with that. So definitely a lot of fun fights in the pipeline. It's going to be, again, 9 weeks, I believe, or more after this little break we get this coming up weekend. Are we going to recap the rest of the week as it goes on? What are we going to end up doing?
On Sunday?
On the Sunday show. One of the rare breakies.
Unless something kooky happens, I don't know. Maybe you won't even see us. I can't guarantee it. This Sunday. Maybe we should get off when we can if we're going to be having these 18 shows in a row type things. And that's a lot of work. So.
Yeah, guys, it is definitely a lot of work.
Maybe we can take I don't know. If something good goes down, though, maybe we'll even do like a 20-minute or something, short show.
We're always threatening those out here.
So other than that, if you don't hear from us this Sunday, make sure you tell a friend if you want us to come back next Wednesday.
Let me!